Dutton Ranch just wrapped up one of the wildest first seasons Paramount Plus has ever put out. And honestly, calling it a hit feels like an understatement. This show came out of nowhere and turned into one of the most talked about pieces of the entire Yellowstone universe. Fans got exactly what they were hoping for. Beth and Rip rebuilding their lives down in Texas, tension building episode after episode, and then a finale that flipped the entire story on its head. Rob Will finally got what was coming to him. Carter ended up kidnapped. Oriana found out she's pregnant. And just like that, the whole fight stopped being about Beulah and the Dutton family and became something much bigger. Mariano versus everyone. So naturally, the question everybody's asking is simple. When is season 2 coming? And what's actually going to happen? Let's start with the news side of things, because there's a lot to unpack. Dutton Ranch has officially been picked up for a second season, which honestly wasn't much of a surprise given the ratings. But there is one major shakeup happening behind the camera. Chad Feehan, the guy who ran the show for season 1, is stepping down. Taking his place is Benjamin Cavell, an experienced hand who's worked on plenty of high-profile projects before. That's a pretty significant change, and it could shift the tone of the show in ways we haven't seen yet. As for timing, nothing has started filming yet. But if you look at how Paramount handled Mayor of Kingstown, production kicked off just weeks after their season 1 finale aired. If Dutton Ranch follows a similar pattern, we could realistically be looking at a spring 2027 release, maybe April or May. Nothing's confirmed, but based on how fast this franchise moves, that timeline feels reasonable. Now let's actually dig into what happened in that finale, because there's a lot buried in there that sets up everything coming next. Beth and Rip finally cracked open the truth about the drug operation running through the ranch. Turns out, fentanyl was being smuggled in through the 10-Petal Ranch the entire time. And Beulah admitted she'd been trapped in that arrangement for years, ever since Mariano stepped in to bail out the ranch during a brutal drought. That debt came back to collect in the worst way possible. Mariano showed up in Texas, gave the order to hit the Dutton Ranch, and within that single episode, Rob Will was killed. Oriana discovered she was carrying Carter's baby, and Carter himself got taken. That's not a season finale wrapping things up. That's a season finale lighting the fuse for something much bigger. So where does season 2 pick up? My guess is it opens with one priority above everything else: getting Carter back. Mariano now knows exactly where Beth and Rip's weakness is. And it's not the business, it's not the land, it's Carter. The second he's taken hostage, this stops being a turf war and becomes something deeply personal. And that's what makes Mariano such a different threat than Rob Will ever was. Rob Will was reckless and impulsive. Mariano is patient. He thinks 3 steps ahead. That kind of calculated danger is a lot scarier than someone acting on impulse. I think the opening stretch of episodes will be built around that rescue mission. Beth and Rip racing to get Carter home before Mariano can use him as leverage. But once that's resolved, I think the entire framing of the show shifts. Season 1 was the Dutton Ranch against the 10-Petal Ranch. Season 2, I believe, becomes something much more personal. Beth and Rip against Mariano directly. He's the one who built the smuggling operation, manipulated Beulah for years, and clearly wants the ranch back under his control. That makes him the real antagonist going forward, not just a side threat. Then there's Carter and Oriana. That pregnancy reveal at the end of the season changes everything about where Carter's character goes next. All season long, he's been reckless, dropping out, getting into trouble, making decisions without thinking about consequences. But fatherhood tends to force people to grow up fast, especially in a family like this one. I expect Beth and Rip to finally sit him down and have the real conversation about what it means to actually be responsible for something bigger than himself. This could be the turning point where Carter stops chasing the idea of being a cowboy and actually starts becoming part of what the Dutton name represents. Beulah's arc is probably going to hit the hardest emotionally. She's lost her son, watched her family fracture, and nearly lost the ranch she spent her life protecting. And there's still one massive question hanging over everything. Who actually killed Rob Will? The show was deliberately vague about it. All we got was a gunshot, Rob Will's body, and Walker Keene sitting in his truck crying with a gun in his hand. It's easy to assume Walker pulled the trigger,
But even the actor who plays Joaquin has said publicly that the show left it ambiguous on purpose. Even he doesn't know the full answer yet. That tells me there's a twist coming that hasn't been revealed. And what about Oriana? She runs toward the door after hearing the shot, but we never actually see her confirm what she saw. That's not an accident. If the writers wanted to close that mystery immediately, they easily could have. Leaving it open means there's more coming.
We also can't forget about Whitney. Her entire storyline, refusing Joaquin's money, filing that missing persons report, digging for the truth about West, just vanished without resolution. I don't think that's the end of her arc. There's unfinished business there. Then there's the biggest decision looming over the whole ranch. Who does Beulah trust to protect the 10-petal ranch going forward? If she starts connecting Mariano's return to everything falling apart, I don't see her handing control to Joaquin or anyone tied to him. Once she learns about Oriana's pregnancy, I think her perspective shifts entirely. She may end up trusting Beth, at least temporarily, since Beth has already proven she won't touch the drug operation and has the business sense to actually protect the ranch's future. That would be a massive blow to Mariano, since the 10-petal ranch has functioned as his smuggling pipeline for years. Take that away, and he becomes even more dangerous and more desperate. As for Joaquin, I don't think his alliance with Mariano lasts. His real issue was always with Rob Will, not with Beulah or Oriana. Once he realizes how much Mariano manipulated the entire situation, including him, I think he eventually turns back toward his family instead of staying loyal to a father who used him. And Everett and Beulah, I don't think that relationship is finished either. He walked away once he learned the truth, but now that he understands why she made those choices, and after everything she's lost, there's a real chance they find their way back to each other. Expect Sheriff Wade to get pulled deeper into all of this too, now that there's been a kidnapping, multiple deaths, and an exposed smuggling operation. And Austin, after everything he risked to expose the truth, probably keeps standing beside Beth and Rip going forward. Season 2 isn't just picking up where things left off, it's expanding into something much larger. This isn't about solving one murder anymore. It's about saving Carter, protecting Oriana's future, taking down Mariano's entire operation, and figuring out who's really in control of the 10-petal ranch. Every thread from Season 1 is converging, and it feels like the real story is just getting started. What do you think happens next? Drop your predictions in the comments.